Hello, hello, my fellow creatives. Welcome, welcome. I am Imani the writer, and this is the Healing Creative Podcast, where I, a Black girl creative, take you along my healing journey. Feel free to join me. So what are we talking about today? I had a few questions on my mind lately about whether my art, my business, my dreams can truly sustain me. Can they provide for me? Do I have what it takes to one day become a full-time creative, a full-time creator? Do I have what it takes to truly make that happen for me? So I wanted to kind of do some story times to kind of talk a little bit about my creative journey with you guys, talk about the ups, talk about the downs, and then give an answer that I feel makes the most sense and is the most representative of how I feel authentically in this moment. I have some really, really great insights to share with you guys that popped up in my journaling. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to share them with you guys. But first, we got to do our creative updates. Yay! So my job has a lot of really cool stipends for some really cool stuff. We have this one learning stipend that we can use for classes, for courses, on anything we want, like you could be for art classes, music, dance, language learning, all types of stuff, right? So I thought to myself, I was like, ooh, can I use this stipend for Udemy? Because if y'all be on Udemy, you know them courses be cheap. They be so cheap, especially when they're on sale. Like you can get like $100 course or a $200 course for like $12 when they're on sale. So I put in my request and it went through. I was approved to use my stipend for a few Udemy courses that I requested. And I still have a lot left over that I can still use for the rest of the entire year. And bro, like you guys, the courses that I got already are so good. Multiple courses I got for only $50 and they are so good. There's one on the ones that I got, I really wanted to focus on digital art. That's one of the things I always really wanted to do. And I have some very basic knowledge about, but one day, like I'm working on a story and while I don't mind writing it as a novel, I really see this as a visual story. And I've got some artistic abilities. I can do a little drawing here and there, you know what I'm saying? But I never really learned how to draw like manga. And that's how I really see this story. I see it as a manga. I want you to see these characters. I want you to see what they're doing. And I want it to be drawn very beautifully. I have a very artistic vision in my mind. And I want to be able to bring that to light. So the courses that I bought were like beginner courses on how to draw manga, a course on Krita, which is the art software that I will be using. It's free and it's very, very powerful. So, and I think it's just a perfect place to start with digital drawing if you're a beginner, especially given the fact that it's free. I've heard that a lot of professional artists just stick with it, honestly. Like they really don't have any need to choose any other program. You know what I mean? So I'm super excited to dive into that this weekend. I'm actually recording this podcast. I usually do that on like a Saturday, but it's Thursday night. I just got in from work. And I decided to record this podcast early and maybe see if I can get the editing done in the morning so that I have Saturday off to really dive into my creative hobbies. I want to spend the morning just playing around and having fun, and the rest of the evening and the afternoon taking the courses and trying to do things and try to draw along with them and to practice along with them. That's what I want to do for Saturday. So that's why I'm trying to record this podcast early. I could have just kind of held back because I honestly have a couple of podcasts already scheduled out for a good minute. I really could take a break, but this has just been on my spirit and on my soul to talk about, and I want to talk about it. So let's talk about it, especially since this particular creative update is so relevant to this topic of one day hopefully becoming a full-time creator. And when I say creator, I don't just mean a creator on YouTube, honestly, what I mean is a full-time creative, to be able to make a full-time income with with a combination of my creative dreams and endeavors. Maybe YouTube can be one stream of income. Maybe some of the products that I sell in the digital store can be some income. I have the empathy letter worksheet already up for sale. If you guys are interested in that, check that out in the link below, or visit culturecraftbyimani.com to visit the store. The empathy letter worksheet is really, really great if you struggle with self-love and self-compassion. And this empathy letter worksheet provides you with a method to be able to make it a habit of being compassionate with yourself through writing yourself, instead of love letters, empathy letters, and teaches you to be the first one to show yourself empathy whenever things kind of get you down. You know what I'm saying? So check that out if you are interested. I definitely would love to make more journals and digital products like that. That could be another stream of income. I have so many paintings. I do a lot of painting, and I would love to sell a couple prints of my paintings on my shop one day. That might be a project that I work on in the next coming weeks or months. I'd love to make music. And you know what I'm saying? I want to write. I want to sing. I want to play music. I want to paint. I want to make manga. I want to do a lot of things. And my hope is that I can be able to make a full-time income by doing a combination of those things in a way that makes sense. And that's what I would want to happen. That's my hope and that's my dream. So let me actually tell you guys about what really inspired this particular podcast episode, why I decided to talk about it tonight. I had a dream a couple days ago that was so vivid that I woke up with a start. And I immediately started journaling to try and started praying and looking up symbols to try to interpret what this dream meant. And once I've analyzed it and came up with an interpretation, it was actually such an encouraging message to receive. And I'm so grateful for it. Let me tell you how the dream went. Okay, so I had a dream that my nails were cracked. And not just cracked, but cracked right down the middle from the cuticle to the end. Cracked. And not just right down the middle, but split almost in 3 ways so that there's 3 individual cracks in the nail. Even though that sounds painful and terrible, it actually wasn't in the dream. In my dream, I didn't feel any pain. And the cracks were actually really pretty. It cracked in a naturally pretty way. It just had this beautiful way about it. And oddly enough, it almost looked like a design, like an intentional design. But they were cracked. There were spaces in between the cracks. And in between those spaces, in between the cracks, were sunflower seeds. And they were growing out of my fingernails. I know, it sounds so weird. That's why I immediately woke up with a start and just be what does that mean? There were sunflower seeds in my nail. And then there were 2 cracks that were next to each other in the nail that were where it split from the middle of my cuticles downward. Those cracks, I was able to twist them. This sounds so painful. Not twist, but kind of in a circular motion, kind of, how do I say this? Just kind of move them in place. With a flat, this is going to sound so terrible. Because when you hear twist, it's giving you put it in between 2 fingers and twist it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying with a flat finger, you went and just moved your hand in a clockwise or counterclockwise motion, whatever, in a circular motion so that the crack moved kind of in a circle. I twisted the cracks in my nails in a certain kind of way, and it started dispensing the sunflower seeds one by one when I twisted it. It was almost like a mechanism, like a machine, kind of. I would take my finger and just go in a circular motion, and it will crank out the sunflower seeds. And in the dream, I was eating the sunflower seeds out of my thing that grew out of my fingernails. It was so weird. And then when I saw that, I immediately woke up with a start, and I could not go to sleep for the rest of the night, even though I had to actually physically go into the office that morning. I had to figure out, which was, that was murder. I had another night like that last night too. Like, I had like a dream that I kind of had to sit down and interpret as well, but it wasn't as powerful as the one that I'm talking about right now. But it's interfering with my sleep schedule a lot. But anyway, that was the dream. And it was very quick. It didn't take long. It was probably all of 5 seconds, like that motion happened. But I remember distinctly seeing the nails, the cracked in the nails, the sunflower seeds coming out of the nails as I twisted the crack, and then me eating them, right? So I was just like, what was that? And I started doing some research, doing my prayers, and interpreting the dreams. And here's what I came up with. So let's talk about the cracked nail design. I think that represents like something that's not perfect and not pristine, but still valuable, right? And the reason why it's still valuable is because it dispenses sunflower seeds. When we think about our nails, like especially as women, like we sometimes get so caught up in making sure that our nails look perfect and pristine and everything like that. I don't really do my nails. Now, my nails are not cracked. Nail health is not that bad. They're just plain. They're just regular. There's nothing going on. I'm not painting them. I'm not getting them done. I'm not getting acrylics or anything like that. It's just the nail, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes I feel somewhat insecure about just having plain nails because we've made that like such a beauty standard, you know what I mean? And I feel like we have a bunch of beauty standards that I just don't follow because they're not authentic to me, or just not even necessarily beauty standards, but just like things that it feels like all girls do. Now I know it's not all, but like things that most girls do. Or at the very least, what most girls on social media are doing, because I never see a woman without her nails done on social media. But I never did that. Like, I've tried it a couple of times, getting the acrylics and everything. It just felt like they got in the way of the things that I love. Like, everything I love doing is a thing that I do with my hands. And the nails just like slowed down the process. And it was like I had to learn how to use my hands to be able to do the things that come naturally to me. And that irritated me. It created space between myself and the things that I loved, like a buffer. And it was just like uncomfortable. I didn't like that feeling. Plus, they were expensive. And I'm just like, do I really want to pay for something that makes life harder for me? You know what I mean? Like, I had to relearn how to use my hands just so that they look good. That's not me in judgment. I'm not judging you. If you like getting your nails done, you like getting your nails done, that's fine. But it's just like, I always just felt like they were always in the way. They were in the way of me writing, typing, painting, playing guitar. Bro, that was always just so fucking annoying, especially acoustic. I don't know how anybody does it. Like, I don't. Same with heels. I just can't stand to be physically uncomfortable. I really can't. I don't like heels because they're just too uncomfortable. Plus, I'm pretty tall anyway. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm tall. Like, I'm nowhere near 6 foot. Like, I'm 5'6". And that's not really tall, but I feel like that's tall. I don't know, maybe just I'm surrounded by short people. I don't know. But it feels tall when I'm like going outside and going on the train and on the bus and just going to the office. Like, it feels like I feel tall in the office sometimes. I just do. I don't know. I don't feel like I need them. I feel like my legs are nice and long and they just kind of have a way of capturing that look that heightened heels capture already. I don't mind heels that are like 1 inch, 2 inch. I can walk comfortably in those. So occasionally I do. But anything more than that, I'm just like, ugh, I'm not in the mood. Same with jewelry. I have a jewelry box with a bunch of necklaces that I really, really love. But as much as I love the look of them, throughout the day, they start to bother me. And sometimes I just end up taking them off and putting them in my bag because it's just like, there's something about jewelry, all jewelry, not just necklaces. I don't wear earrings. I don't wear bracelets. I don't wear watches. I don't wear rings. The only jewelry that I wear comfortably is hair jewelry because it's not physically on my body, it's on my hair. And I also have like a belly button piercing, but that's just on my body 24/7. I don't even notice it half the time. You know what I mean? Jewelry has a way of making me feel weighed down. And I just prefer to just not have, especially around my neck. Like, I'm realizing that my neck is very sensitive. I don't like things weighing on my neck a lot. It just, even though I look so good, like I look so good, but it bothers me. It bothers me. Over time, it just gets on my nerves. I just don't like it. I also like natural hair. I prefer my natural hair, even though it's not necessarily the beauty standard, because it just feels like me. It just feels like me. And I'm very lazy. Like who has time to learn how to put on a wig? Who has time to, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people, and honestly though, the people who say like, oh, I don't got time to deal with my natural hair. The time you spend learning to put on a wig and then doing that install is not like, it's not like it's saving you that much time compared to dealing with your natural hair. Now, granted, I feel like dealing with loose natural hair is a completely different beast, especially with the type of hair you have. I found some sort of rhythm that worked when I was in high school, but don't ask me to replicate it because I don't know what it is that I did. And I've had locks for nearly 6 years now. At this point, I don't know how to do anything else because that's what I've been doing for the past 6 years. So it's just like everything, the locks were always just the easiest thing for me. Tell me how I came across a video the other day of someone complaining that, oh, I can't find a style to do. Everything is so hard. If I get locks, now I have to retwist it. I'm just like, babes, you say that like it's hard. Like, I'm not going to hold you. It's a bit time consuming, but that depends on what it is that you're doing. If you're doing a very simple retwist, the fastest retwist I've ever done is like an hour. And I'm slow. Like, I can probably do it super quickly in like 30 minutes if I really wanted to. But it does depend on what you're doing and the style that you're doing, and if it's wash day or not, too, because you can retwist your locks even if it's not on a wash day or something like that. The quickest wash day I've ever had started at 8 and ended around 2. So yeah, long wash day still takes a while, but I had the rest of the day though. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot shorter than it used to be. Wash day used to take the entire day, but by 2:00, at least the last wash day that I had, by 2:00, I was already done with my hair, and I had recorded a podcast while retwisting. So on that exact same day, I did my whole wash day routine and a whole podcast episode and edited it and scheduled it all in one day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like, it was that's the most productive wash day I've ever had, actually. That might be like my go-to thing. Anyway, we're getting off topic. I love my natural hair. It feels like me. I feel free. I initially did it for financial reasons and just for lifestyle reasons. I wanted something easier, but I got unintentional spiritual and emotional benefits out of it. It's very meaningful to me to look at myself in the mirror and see my natural hair, my natural face, my natural body, to see it and love it and look at it and know that it is beautiful, untouched, without having to make any changes to it. It's very meaningful to me. And that started with my hair. It was easier for me to see the rest of me as beautiful when I started seeing my hair as beautiful for some reason. I think that's because our hair is where we get the most judgment and scrutiny, for sure. But yeah, there are so many physical things about me that are far from perfect and far from pristine, but they are beautiful nonetheless, priceless, valuable. And the reason why is because of the authenticity and the purpose they serve. I don't, like, at the core of it all, these things that I just don't like, I've just determined that they don't benefit me. And I focus on the things that actually serve a positive purpose in my life. There is a purpose in me keeping my nails short and bare and ease, because there's a purpose to it, so that I can create with ease without barriers in between me and my art. There's a reason why I try to avoid wearing heels that are too high, because I want to feel comfortable when I'm walking. And I want to walk slowly and enjoy the stroll and enjoy where I'm going and to strut confidently. There's a purpose in me not wearing jewelry because I don't want to be weighed down. I want to be comfortable. I want to be free. Me being free allows me to be my authentic self. It just lightens my mood. It makes me feel better. Oftentimes makes me more sociable too. Like when I just feel uninhibited. Yeah. So, but that was about but interestingly, this is about physical stuff. But I think that I brought up these physical attributes because one, they matter. And two, they're also linked to emotional stuff too. And I think that's what the cracked nail really symbolized in this dream. It symbolized a certain emotional vulnerability. It symbolized feelings and ideas and dreams and thoughts in my heart that I deeply want to share, but sometimes worry about sharing and choosing not to share because I'm scared of how they'll be viewed, because I know that they're not perfect, because I know that they're not pristine, because I know that I'm not making myself out to look like I'm just this perfect, pretty girl and everything comes easily to me. You know the type, the influencer, Insta-baddie types, the dating guru and femininity coach types that just they have a lot of focus on image, never looking vulnerable, always looking on point, always looking together, always maintaining a certain image. But that's just not who I am. And there used to be a time where I used to feel badly about myself, that I'm not able to do that, both physically and emotionally, because you would think that these bitches don't got no feelings. I shouldn't call them bitches, but I'm using it facetiously. But like you would think that these women have no feelings. There is a refusal to express any sort of feeling that is not cute and cut and just like it's either you're happy or you're just on this energy like I'm a bad bitch and I want what I want and I need what I need. And if you can't satisfy, there's the door. Always having that kind of energy. Like, have you never been in love in your life? Like, have you ever been in love? Have you ever got your heart broken? Have you ever had friends that you can share your deep interests with? Is there anything more to you than this image? Something deeper. Something that deep in your heart that would resonate with people, because it's really hard for, like, I can't just sit here and pretend to be a Barbie doll all day. Like, I can't. I like to keep things natural. I like to keep things simple. I like to keep things easy so as to focus on the things that deeply matter to me. And the things that matter to me that are the things in my heart, my feelings, my thoughts, my emotions, my healing. And I have this deep desire to share and to be a little bit more vulnerable, even if it doesn't look perfect, even if it doesn't look pristine, because there's value in it. It's priceless. Sometimes watching someone else go through their healing journey gives you the inspiration to keep going on your own, or it's simply a part of your own. Sometimes listening to someone else heal is healing to you. I've experienced that before. For sure. But yeah, respectability politics, especially in the Black community, oftentimes gives me caution when it comes to expressing the things in my heart. But again, we're interpreting the dream. The cracked nail design was gorgeous, even though it looked weird, even though it was cracked from the cuticle to the end of my nail, even though it's everything that every woman, that every femininity coach and Instagram model would judge. It was a gorgeous design and it served a purpose. And that purpose was to dispense seeds. They were unified for a specific reason. Those seeds to me represent seeds to sow, like opportunities for growth. And I think there's meaning in the fact that they came out of my fingernails. I feel like when I create something with my hands, this dream is telling me that it has the power to nourish me, that these seeds represent my creativity, my new ideas that have the potential to blossom and to grow into something that really can take care of me. And the fact that I was eating the seeds is a testament to that. Like, these ideas that I have, my creativity, my vulnerability, and my authenticity, they are real and they are valuable and they are seeds that can be nourished to grow. so as to sustain me. My creativity can feed me. My authenticity can take care of me. And I think this dream was God's way of letting me know that I can use these ideas to build wealth in ways that are truly authentic and healing to my spirit. And that was just a beautiful experience to actually come to the realization that that's what this dream meant. That's how I interpreted it. But I wanted to take a minute to kind of talk about how the creative journey has been going for a while. So let's backtrack a couple years back to talk about, like, this is a little story time. Let's do a little story time about culture craft and what that journey was like for me. So after I graduated college, I gave myself 2 years to pursue my dream full time after graduation. I was very blessed and very lucky that I was able to do that while staying with my parents. So I gifted myself that. I gave myself that chance to pursue my dreams. And I tried a million and one things to make Culture Craft as a business successful. I learned a lot from it, and Culture Craft has definitely grown from it. I've grown too, but because I couldn't really get it to provide me full-time income within those 2 years, I kind of felt like I failed. So once my 2 years were up, I was like, okay, it's time for me to be realistic and get myself a job, right? But even then, I did not anticipate how hard it would be for me to get a job. It took me a whole year of applying to actually get a job. And this is the job. This was the first job offer that I got, and I just jumped on it and took it. For that year, I was in panic mode because it was just like my life is just passing me by. So many of my peers are already just moving up and up and up in their career. And I had felt like I wasted like 3 years of my life trying to build Culture Craft. And I just started losing my faith in my business, losing my faith in myself. But I don't even know what I could say I did that really got me out of that headspace. Because to be quite honest with you, what got me out of that headspace was getting this job. And that's not something that was entirely within my control. Like, I applied and I did my interviews and everything like that. But whether or not they would actually hire me was out of my hands. There was no, like, I would love to say that there was an affirmation that made things click for me, that there was a journaling exercise that made things click for me, because I did it all during that time that was really, really difficult for me. And while they got me out of some dark lows, they didn't really raise me high either. The only thing that really made me feel better was when my situation was actually better. But doing those things did give me the courage and the patience to stay the course until I got this job. And I mean, I have cried. I've cried, and it's not just like sweet, pretty little tears trickle down. Like, I would fall to the floor and wail about how my life was going and scream and just weep. Like, it was a deep, powerful roar that just erupted from my stomach. It was this guttural wail of sorrow and shame. I would just remember crying. That was the most powerful despair that I had ever felt, because it felt like it was never going to end. It's crazy that I can look back on that and say, yeah, it was all worth it. You know, everything worked out. I wish I can go back to the me just a couple of months before I got this job, just to hold that version of me and be like, it really will be okay. But there was nothing that really was going to convince me that things were going to be okay. All I could do was just use the coping strategies that I could to just make me not take on the worst case scenario and make dumb decisions. I had to just stay the course, you know, until things get better. And I just had to be patient. But that was not easy. But the cool thing was that my unconventional path made me stand out in the interview process. Like, I gave a presentation. There was a presentation that was part of my interview process, and you can present on anything in this presentation. They just want to see your presentation skills because that's relevant to the role. I gave a presentation on my business and some of the marketing initiatives that I took on. That's really got the attention of like a manager and associate director that's on my current team right now. And I think that's a big part of the reason why I got this job. Like, my unconventional path led me here. And everything in some way, shape, or form truly is connected, even if it doesn't look like it. Like when I tell people that people in my life that know me and have known me since I was a kid, when I tell people that I'm a data analyst, it makes no sense to them. Like, how are you? How are you, this writer, this artist? How are you? How did you become a data analyst of all things? But everything truly was connected. I went to college for English literature because I was supposed to. That's what I was in love with. I loved stories. I wanted to analyze them. I wanted to understand what made them great, what made them powerful, what made them impactful, what made stories so interesting that people wanted to study them in college settings. I wanted to know. And it was through my English classes, especially the Black literature classes that I took, that inspired me to start Culture Craft, which I'm very much still passionate about when it comes to diverse writing. Yeah. And it's through my business that got me interested in marketing in the first place, because I need to be able to market the thing to be able to make money for me. And it was through my interest in marketing that came from my business that led me to the marketing apprenticeship programs that I did. And it's the marketing apprenticeship programs that I did that led me to this job. And in this job, I'm learning platforms that I should have learned for my business, that I knew was on my to-do list for my business. But when I tried them, they were too hard for me to learn on my own. But now I benefit from having members of my team there to coach me and to train me. And then I can take the things that I learned from my job and apply them to my business now. Everything is connected. Everything is part of something to lead me here. And then the business happened and my journey happened the way that it did to lead to this podcast, to inspire me to focus more on my healing and my creative journey. But even still, as I now choose to I have this dual life. I have my day job as a data analyst where I'm analyzing numbers and creating data streams and writing reports and everything like that. And then I have this podcast where I'm literally just being vulnerable and being my authentic self on the internet. The fact is, I work in tech, and learning these technical skills is helpful for me as a creative, because I have limited resources. I don't necessarily have a whole team here to help me do the technical things. So I have to be able to do them myself. And this job not only provides me with great mentors to learn from and a great training ground where I'm not only learning these platforms, but getting paid to do it because it is a job. But then on top of that, the job provides me with stipends to learn other skills that I can't learn on the job as well. Everything is connected, bro. Everything is connected. Everything, even if it doesn't look like a linear path, it looks like, in my mind, everything looks like a web. It's all connected towards one single core, which is my creative dreams, all of them coming into fruition. Everything was needed. Everything was necessary. If I missed one, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do another thing. Everything had to happen the way that it did. And I wish that I knew that at the time, but that's where faith comes in. Sometimes you had to just have faith in God and have faith in yourself. Having faith doesn't necessarily mean, okay, I'm done feeling bad about this, I'm just giving it to God. Having faith is just like recognizing that you feel badly for not knowing what the future has in store, but you're just accepting that you don't know right now and trusting one way or another that it will work out, even if that trust doesn't necessarily settle my heart right then and there. But there's nothing else to be done but to trust. So you just give it to God and you choose not to give up and you keep going, even though your heart is still weary. And so that's what I did. And I'm not even going to hold you. That was the hardest year of my life. I never felt less worthy of happiness than I did when I was unemployed and struggling to get a job and struggling to make this business happen. For that third year after graduating, that was the toughest year of my life. And I was dealing with family issues at the same exact time too. I've never been more challenged than I was that year for 2024. That was the year that challenged me and outblossomed a better, wiser, and more confident and more beautiful woman. And I am so grateful that everything worked out. There are still seeds that haven't fully bloomed yet, but a lot of the hard work is starting to pay off, and it already is. And at the very least, it's creating opportunities for me to plant new seeds while I still nurture the ones that were there before. Everything happened for a reason, and it all shaped who I was. But it's so hard when you're in the thick of it, bro. Oh, fuck. It was so hard. It was so hard. I never want to forget how hard that was, because sometimes you just forget how God changed things in your life, bro. Sometimes we just get so caught up in the present and so caught up in what's going on in front of our faces, and we forget the way God delivered us. I was so fucking broken, man. I was broken, losing my ever-loving mind. And I felt like such a failure. And somehow God kept me going and going. I don't know how he did it. It's not for me to know. I am not God. I don't know how he did it, but he made this miracle happen. And this job, honestly, like I was so tapped out with the job hunt at that point. I don't feel like I even performed the best that I could have at my interviews, and it still just all came into alignment for me. Like, there are moments where I missed emails from the recruiter and they still reached back out to me about the job and everything. Like, it was just like, I was so tapped out and so numb to the whole thing that I nearly sabotaged it, but because it was meant to be, it all happened for my good anyway. And that's a big sign. Like, if it's meant to be, it will be. Even if you try, even if you're just not in the mood, even if you try to self-sabotage, if God says, no, you're supposed to be here, that's what you're going to do. You're going to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes it just really does go down like that. But yeah, now I'm on this new creative journey with this YouTube channel. I haven't abandoned culture craft, but I am taking it into a new direction. I kind of see my business as two different projects. Like, there's the Culture Craft project that's focused on diversity writing. And then there's the Healing Creative project that's all about this podcast, as well as any creative endeavors that I want to explore through my YouTube channel. And I'm starting anew, leaning into my healing, leaning into my journaling, and leaning into my inner thoughts. And sometimes, even on this new creative journey, I feel discouraged when the algorithm doesn't work out in my favor. Shout out to that previous episode I did about creator anxiety. It is so real. Be sure to check that out if you haven't already. But even now, even after having gone through such a journey, I still have some reservations about whether or not my art can truly sustain me, if I ever truly can be a full-time artist. Sometimes I wonder if I have enough talent, especially since there were long periods of my time where I just didn't practice. I don't have measurements to figure out how much talent do I have in comparison to other people. I don't have benchmarks to work with, you know what I mean? So sometimes I wonder if I truly have the talent. Sometimes I wonder if I truly have the courage, because there are lots of things that I want to create and put up on my YouTube channel, and I am deeply afraid of doing that. I'm scared of looking weird. I'm scared of looking stupid. I'm scared of being embarrassed. I wouldn't say I'm scared, but I'm definitely nervous about those things. And sometimes I wonder if I even have enough focus. Like, I'm a multi-passionate creative. I want to do so many things. I don't want to just do one thing. Sometimes I wonder if I'm spread out too thin. Like, how do I navigate this journey? Do I have what it takes to navigate it well? So these are the kinds of things that have kind of been on my mind. And I just want you to know that if you felt this way too, my gosh, you are far from alone, bro. If you wonder if you have enough talent, if you have the courage, if you have the focus, if you wonder if you have what it takes, if it's even within the realm of possibility for you. I know what that's like. I know exactly what it's like to kind of have those questions swirling around in your mind. I know exactly what it's like to have some of those doubts. I want to take some pressure off of the both of us right now. You don't need to toxic positivity your way out of these questions and out of these feelings. A lot of people will make you feel like, oh yes, of course you can. Don't think like that. I am not here to invalidate the fact that those questions exist, because they exist for me too. We don't have to also pressure ourselves into necessarily finding the answers to those questions. I do think I have some answers, at least for myself, but they don't have to be perfect, concrete answers. And you're allowed to change your mind about some of those answers. And you're allowed to take some pressure off of yourself to even become a full-time creative. Even if that is a dream of yours, it can happen at any time. It doesn't have to happen by a certain age. It doesn't have to happen right now. And there's no point in which you need to feel like a failure. As long as you're being creative, that is always going to be worth something. Even if it was nothing more than just you having a healing and happy experience. I want you to know that I see you. I want you to know that I hear you. I want you to know that I feel you. I've got your back. I get it. And I am here to support you. Like I said before, I do have some ideas about these questions. I do have some answers that I have written down. So I asked myself, do I have enough talent? And I just decided, let's just assume yes. Even though I just said that we don't have to toxic positivity our way to it. But like, it doesn't benefit me to think no. Right? We have what we need in us already. And plus, talents can grow. You know what I'm saying? We have plenty of talent within us already. And there's no cap to how much talent and potential we can have. You know what I'm saying? God has blessed me with so many talents. God has blessed me with the talent of public speaking, of writing, of painting, of drawing, of music, of singing. Even though I don't let anybody see it, I really do love dancing, and I do think that I am quite good at it sometimes, even though I'm that's something I want to work on. I want to be willing and okay with dancing publicly and in front of people. My mom is probably hearing this and just like, she has tried to catch me dancing when I don't realize that she's there. But I am hypervigilant to make sure that people don't catch me dancing. And the reason why is because it's not because I don't like dancing. It's not because I don't like music, but because I grew up just feeling really not very confident in my body. And even though I am building that confidence now, I still feel somewhat uncomfortable with people looking at my body and making comments about it, even if those comments are positive, simply because I just don't like the eyes on me, on my body in that way. Because in the past, when there were eyes on my body, like in school, like I was hurt. So even when I am receiving positive feedback about my body and about my beauty, sometimes it makes me uncomfortable because I don't know, maybe maybe in the back of my mind, I feel like they're going to switch it up or say something or point out something that makes me feel insecure. So I'm working on it, but dancing is something that I want to explore. I want to feel beautiful in this body and in the way that it moves. I want to see my body move in incredible new ways, in beautiful new ways. I deserve to feel sexy too. Like, I always felt like uncomfortable too, like allowing myself to look attractive, allowing myself to look sexy, because I was always worried about, oh, what are my parents going to say? Girl, you are 26 years old. You about to be out the house, bro. Like, you're allowed to be sexy now. Like, I always look around and I'm like, am I actually allowed to be sexy now? You're allowed to be sexy now. You have been for some time. You're not, no one's gonna think that you're a Jezebel for being sexy. And if they do, they're a weirdo. You know what I'm saying? But even just the word sexy, sometimes I feel uncomfortable with people saying that about me. I don't know. I feel like there needs to be an established trust there, I feel, because I don't feel comfortable with just random people calling me sexy because I don't. I don't know. You're a random person. We have to have a certain kind of relationship where I feel comfortable with you looking at me like that. Because I don't feel comfortable with everyone looking at me that way. You know what I mean? But that's another journey. That's another part of my creative journey that I'm super excited to explore. But back to the topic, God has blessed me with many, many talents, but the talent that I feel most grateful to Him for giving me is the talent to learn, because it means that there is no cap on my potential. There is always going to be something new that I can learn, a new skill that I can learn, a new way for me to build on the skills that I already have and the talents that I already have. If you are listening and you know, even if you feel insecure about your current talents right now, and if you're good enough to actually share them or to actually compete in them if you want to compete in competitions or whatever. If you feel like you're not talented enough, one thing you can say is, God bless me with the talent of learning. So there is no cap to the talent that I could have. As long as I continue learning, I will always be enough and have enough talent because there's always going to be more. There's always going to be more. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I need to remember to do is that you have more than enough talent to start right now. Don't get caught up in feeling like you have to do all the learning first. That was my problem. That was a big problem with me in my entrepreneurship journey as well. I felt like I had to learn everything just to do anything. And you don't. You can do the learning as you go. Like, one thing that I have to remember when I'm doing, and I think it's even part of the instruction for a lot of these courses that I'm taking, I have to learn as I go. So before I even turn on Udemy to even look at the course, I need to spend some time just doing. Like, if I have a creative project on my mind that I want to do, take an hour at least to work on that project before taking the course. And you can go back and apply the things that you learn, but you have to start. You can continue learning as you go. Next question was, do I have the courage to do this? One thing, this podcast is proof that both you and I have the bravery to face this fear. We do have the courage. The fact that I'm here talking about it and the fact that you're here listening to it is proof that we both have the bravery to face any fears and reservations that we have about our creative dreams. And also, it's important to remember that courage can be built over time with small wins. Start with baby steps. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, there's so many things that I want to share on YouTube but I'm a little nervous about. So it's just like, what is the smallest thing that I can start sharing? First, it was this podcast, which is great. I definitely have a few small wins under my belt. And when it comes to building my confidence and sharing the things that I share on my podcast. Next is some artistic works to put on the YouTube channel as well. So it's just like, let's start small. Let's start with poetry. Poetry is nice. Poetry is easy. You can work with that. I think that will be the next project. And then continuing with your courses and your other creative projects. But you can start putting yourself out there by doing something small. You know what I mean? Take it one step at a time. Start with baby steps. And the next question was, do I have enough focus given that I'm a multi-passionate creative? One of the things that I think too is that I think you can grow in talent as a multi-passionate creative so long as there is a common thread between your passions. There has to be a core that connects everything together. And that's what I meant by like the web situation. Even though I had a very meandering career path, when I walk you through it, everything truly was related and everything truly was connected. That's how my creative passions have to be in alignment too. And the thing that unifies them is my healing journey. The things that come up in my journaling, the things that I discuss in this podcast, these are the things that bind them together. So when I think about the tangible manifestation of how it will actually show up in my content creation, 90% of the time I will be podcasting, but every now and then I will share art that I created. And the common thread between the two will be a conversation that I'm having with you about something that is healing to me, about an insight that I learned that was healing to my inner child and brought to my inner child delight. Yeah, so much delight that it can help her continue growing into a healthy and happy woman. That's the thing that combines them together. That's the common thread. I think that you can have as many creative passions as you want, as long as there is a focus and there is a common thread. There is something that grounds you in all of them. And that's what that is for me. But yeah, I'm choosing to have faith that I have what it takes to make this happen for me one day. I don't know when that day will come. I don't know how long I'll be at this particular job until then. But so far, my job has been absolutely wonderful, has been feeding to my creativity in ways that I did not expect. But yeah, until then, until I get to be the creative, the full-time creative of my dreams, I can settle here for a while. I can be happy here for a while. I can give myself the stability that I deeply deserve. I can fund my creative projects. I can fund my learning, and I can find happiness here in the meantime. And I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, I think that's all of my thoughts. Thank you for listening. I hope that this podcast was healing for you. It definitely was healing for me. And wherever you are in the world, I truly hope from the bottom of my heart that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Take care.